Hello kids. As you all should know, Scott and Pablo is coming to an end. So I decided to share 50 fun facts about the show for all you faggots who care. Number 1. A Scott and Pablo-like show was planned for months before it eventually started. Number 2. The plan was for Scott and Pablo to be on GoAnimate, a 2D cartoon site that allowed more than 2 characters to be on the screen, as well as movements. Number 3. This all changed when GoAnimate became a government-owned website that you had to pay an annual fee for. Number 4. Scott and Pablo was originally going to be a show based around friends I hung out with. I made a pilot and it just wasn't that funny. So I scrapped it and started Scott and Pablo. Number 5. It took 3 whole seasons before the Scott and Pablo name became finalized. For the first 2 seasons, it was originally known as Scott and Pablo Talk NCW, but when NCW became less of an advertisement and more of a running joke, I decided to just scrap the Talk NCW part. Number 6. While writing the first episodes of the show, I planned on it being called NCW Misadventures. Number 7. The planned length of the show and even its format has changed many times. Originally it was going to just be 3 seasons of content. Number 8. My next plan was to make 50 episodes in total and release them every Friday for a year. But then I realized that I made episodes at such a fast pace that the jokes would become outdated since the episodes would have been made a long time before they were posted. Number 9. Then when I realized that I had a lot of material left, I decided that I was going to aim for 100 episodes, with the 100th episode being an 80-minute movie. Number 10. The movie actually wasn't scrapped. This last season of Scott and Pablo is pretty much what the movie was going to be. Number 11. In the end we didn't hit the 100 episode mark. I had a whole extra season planned out and everything. It would have been 14 episodes long, but it was scrapped because in the grand scheme of things nothing really groundbreaking happens. Plus season 8 was also kinda filler, so to have 2 filler seasons in a row would be been annoying. Number 12. However, when I originally planned 100 episodes, each episode was still less than 2 minutes long. Midway through the show, the episodes got longer and longer, so you kinda are getting a longer show than even I envisioned. Minus the movie, of course. Number 13. This last season has pretty much been planned since season 3. I've low-key been planning and writing these past 16 episodes for over a year. Number 14. Scott's mom's Goma storyline was always going to end with the final season bad guy killing her. One of my styles of writing usually involves taking something that's retarded, getting it over for being something stupid, and then making the thing story end tragically. This way you grow to somehow care about something that you originally didn't. Number 15. You're probably wondering how I picked Scott and Pablo for main characters. Scott is actually a pre-made character in Platagon. I figured that he looked marketable enough. Number 16. Pablo, on the other hand, was made by me. I wanted a nice contrast between a sweet character, so I made a character that's a complete asshole with a hidden heart. Number 17. Originally there was going to be a female main character, but since Platagon didn't allow 3 people on screen, I scrapped her. Number 18. Scott's love for Christine Rainey comes from early 2015 when Rainey was practically loved by everyone in the NCW group chat. I think it's become funnier as time went on because Rainey is pretty much not as over as he once was. Number 19. If Rainey never originally left NCW, Scott and Rainey would have become married in this last season. Number 20. I try to write characters out when they leave NCW itself because it makes the show feel more up to date. 21. My favorite character on the show is Pablo, because he's probably the character I can relate to the most. Well, besides the murders. Number 22. Outside of the 2 main characters, my favorite character is Genesis, because his character progression has been really lame. Even when he's supposed to be a good guy, he is still booed. The wrong reaction joke is a parody of WWE fans giving the wrong reaction to a superstar who has recently turned either heel or face. Number 23. If Vortex wasn't the main bad guy for this season, The bad guy would either be Rainey or Scott himself. Pablo was almost the main heel of the season, and it's even hinted at in the season 9 premiere. Number 24. Scott was rejected as main bad guy because he's just too lovable, damn it. Plus, if he killed his own mom, it would be too twisted, even for this show. Number 25. Here's some bonus plot since there wasn't enough time to mention this on the show. In episode 71, Pablo wants Scott's mother's plug to be removed. This is because Pablo has recently learned that Scott's mom has to be dead at this point. His grief came from not having the guts to tell Scott about this himself. Number 26. In every season since Genesis debuted, he has always either been the cause for the main plot in a season, or directly related to the show's main plot in some way. This running joke was used to make his face turn in the final season, as well as the reveal that he wasn't the bad guy be more shocking. Seriously, nothing's better than going through 7 whole plots that are all really easy to call. This can also be called a parody of old Pokemon episodes. Number 27. Pablo was actually white for the first few seasons. I didn't even know that Pablo was a Spanish name back then. I just figured that it sounded really good when it followed Scott in a title. Number 28. Scott's elevator storyline that started somewhere around seasons 3 and 4 was made to look like he was there just cause we couldn't fit him into the current storyline. But in actuality, it was always meant to become an important part of the show. Number 29. I decided to officially make Scott Mexican once the amount of white characters became too vast. Number 30. The character the Billy has been on the show since pretty much the beginning, but his character never did anything of importance until the last season. This was mostly because I didn't want to alter a main character of Billy's actual show, since the Billy had enough time to grow on the Billy. Number 31. As much as I hate to say it, a lot of the character and even storylines have been based around characters in the Billy show. If Billy made a character funnier on his show, I would use the character's new gimmick on my show in my own way. The most recent example of this is Maxine shoving things in men's S's. Number 32. As you all know, the Scott and Pablo show has had 3 long breaks. The first long break came after I got a new laptop and as a result lost the characters. Number 33. The second one came after I accidentally removed Platigun from my computer after having a weird file duplication glitch that by the end left my 900GB laptop with only 40GB. Once I discovered the glitch, I removed all of its causes and a few extra things on accident. Over the next few months I slowly made the characters again. Number 34. The last long break came from a few things. Writing the plots, and even waiting a few months just to see if Platigun would make an update that allowed 3 or more characters on the screen at once. Number 35. Ryswag aka Amy was never supposed to have a big role in the show. In fact, in his first appearance in episode 14-ish, my character was totally different. Number 36. Midway through the show I made myself more of a main character because it was easy to create storylines based off a crazy character like myself. Number 37. The Billy's longer episodes inspired me to make my episodes longer as my show progressed. Number 38. If the Billy ended, my show probably would have never finished. In a way, our shows are made just to outdo the other person's show. Number 39. For the longest time I planned on making a spin-off called The Ryswag. The show would be posted in between Scott and Pablo seasons. It would be more slice of life than Scott and Pablo. Eventually Billy decided to make a 3 or so episode spin-off called The Ryswag after I decided that I wasn't going to make it myself. Number 40. I reduced my role in the last Scott and Pablo because I wanted the show to be more about those two, just like how it was during the first few seasons. Number 41. Any spin-off show mentioned throughout Scott and Pablo was a spin-off show that I once thought about doing, but ended up neglecting. The stupider ones get mentioned more often. A recent example was the Billy's Jobber Mansion show. Number 42. The series' finalized plot has been planned for such a long time and I'm so excited to write it. It will be the longest episode of the series. Number 43. On an average Scott and Pablo episode, I think of the plot in the morning, and I write it at night. This is because I'm usually funnier in the morning and more concentrated first thing in the morning. Number 44. It usually takes me only 40 to 60 minutes to write episodes. Number 45. I am going to dedicate 2 whole days to writing the finale. It will be the first episode of the series to have drafts before the final product. Number 46. In preparation for the finale, I plan on watching the previous 85 episodes in a marathon. This way it will be easier to complete every long-term storyline without forgetting any. Number 47. The finale will contain a race of emotions. Expect to laugh, cry, cheer and boo every 5 seconds. Number 48. Each episode takes 8 months to animate. Number 49. Binge watching the whole show would take a bit over 4 hours. That has to be longer than any Lord of the Rings movie. Number 50. If you watched this whole video, then you are a faggot.